Hey Aquarius, welcome to your weekly forecast for March 14th through the 20th. You see a little different setup here. I am traveling, I'm on the road at the time of filming this, so I'm not in my normal surroundings. We're going to connect here and we're going to see what messages are coming up for Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. We do have a full moon on the 18th, a full moon in Virgo. So we're going to see how this might be affecting our darling Aquarius friends. You might stumble upon this video after the time frame I mentioned. That's just fine. You're going to find it whenever you're meant to hear the messages that are in it. So keep in mind, it is a general reading for the collective. Not every single message will resonate, but take what does and leave what doesn't. Let's get right on into it, Virgo. Oh, Aquarius. I said Virgo because I was just talking about the Virgo full moon. Let's get into it, Aquarius. Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Ooh, we have Ace of Wands. So Ace of Wands is a card about taking action. Many readers like to view the wand also as an opportunity or a gift from the divine, from God, from universe, like a door is being opened for you and it's your chance to walk through. And depending on the suit, it will tell us kind of like in what aspect of life or what area of life. Ace of Wands, Wands is going to be about action. Wands are also about our passions, right? Like our desires. It's very ambitious energy. So there could be an opportunity coming up for a lot of Aquarius in the coming week. That's something that you've really been interested about, or something that you've been really wanting to get into, but you weren't quite sure how to go about it, which I feel is very interesting if any of you do have a Virgo placement, because something similar came up with Virgo, or maybe some of you might be collaborating with a Virgo because they had something kind of similar, or like a similar energy. Now the Ace of Wands is going to be, as I said, taking action and going after something. Sometimes we're going to be tempted to turn it down because we think it's not that big of a deal. Or we might think, oh, well, let me aim higher. Or, this is kind of small potatoes. Let me try to get something more substantial. But the Ace of Wands says, look, it looks like small potatoes right now, but once you get involved, and once you start putting your energy into it, it's going to grow. It's going to branch out into bigger and better things. So this might be a great opportunity where you're getting your foot in the door, where you are meeting people, making connections, networking, learning the ropes, right? For some of you, it might be something that begins as like a trial or a temporary thing and becomes more permanent. So Ace of Wands says, don't be so quick to turn your nose up at it. It's not as small as it seems. There's a lot of potential here for growth and for expansion. Because we're coming into the full moon on the 18th, this full moon in Virgo is making us think about our future, about stability, security, long-term plans. And so we're thinking of ways to establish security or stability into our life, or kind of just settling into who we are. So the fact that Ace of Wands is coming up as your first card, it is a time of the full moon. Full moon is a time of releasing. This gives me a feeling or a sense that a lot of Aquarius are going to be releasing indecisiveness and fear. So keep in mind, since I kind of get the feeling or the vibe, a lot of you are going to be releasing indecisiveness and fear. Keep in mind these emotions might be coming to the surface in the week ahead. But the fact that they're coming to the surface is a part of the release. Let yourself feel it. Don't push it down. Don't repress it. Let it come to the surface. Write out those waves. Talk yourself through it. Reason and logic through it. Come into faith. Come into prayer. Come into meditation. Let yourself release these feelings as they're coming to the surface. When we try to deny something or push it down, we give it more power. If we just kind of sit with it and acknowledge it and reason through it, it takes away from its power. So I feel like a lot of you Aquarius will be releasing fear and indecision. The next card that's coming up here for you guys is the Ten of Swords. What did I say? I said it was a time of releasing, and I said it was a time of seizing opportunities. Ten of Swords comes in as kind of like a triple whammy here. Okay? Ten of Swords is finishing out any kind of old karmic cycles. We learned whatever we were supposed to learn from it. We're done with it. It's the end of a karmic cycle. So this could be the end of limited beliefs. Maybe some of you were stuck in a situation where you had karma you had to exchange. That exchange has been completed. Transaction complete. You are free to move forward. You're free to move on. There could be the ending of some karmic contract or pattern. This could also be the ending and the closing of past life agreements or beliefs that no longer serve you, right? So coming into a new MO, coming into a new way of doing things, coming into a new way of presenting yourself to the world or going about how you do things. Ten of Swords can also be that there's a bittersweet energy. Something was a really big deal for you when you began it, but now you outgrew it. And you're trying to hold on. You're trying to stay into it out of a misplaced sense of loyalty or out of a fear of the unknown. But it's becoming unbearable for you. It's becoming unbearable for you to play small and to stay in that situation. Some of you have been staying in a work situation or in a living situation because you feel very sorry for what's going to happen if you move past that. If you go on to something bigger, you're like, oh, they depend on me so much. But it's like it's starting to suck the life out of you. So at some point, you're getting very close, Aquarius, where you're realizing, for the sake of self-preservation, I gotta get out of here. It's time for me to move on. So it's bittersweet. On one hand, you might kind of feel sad. You might even have some happy memories. But there's also this sense of relief, like I don't want to carry this anymore, or I don't want to keep trying to squeeze myself into something that no longer fits. So it's a bittersweet, parting of ways. Ten of Swords also comes up when we're healing from addictions and we're coming into like a permanent sobriety. Now, when I talk about sobriety and I'm talking about addiction, it can be anything. And I mean anything. We self-medicate as human beings in 1,000 different ways. It could be alcohol, it could be substance abuse, it could be pills, it could be anything, right? It can be gambling, it could be physical intimacy, partying, food, it could be an ex that we can't seem to let go of. It could be so many different ways that we might get stuck in some kind of something that we need sobriety from. And sobriety is a journey, my darlings. We get better, we get well, we fall off, we get back on again. And the Ten of Swords sometimes comes up to say, this is it. You've got it. Now, this doesn't mean that you can be around the old behavior and be unaffected. This doesn't mean that if you were an alcoholic, now you have permanent sobriety to where you can go out with your friends and you can have a few drinks and not go past that. I don't mean that. I mean that you now have your way of doing things. You now have your system in place to where you're not going to fall off the wagon, whatever that looks like for you. Okay, I don't mean that you're immune to the temptation. I mean that you've found a way to live your life that's keeping you from falling into the temptation. So there could be a sense of permanent sobriety for some of you here with this Ten of Swords. So the fact that Ten of Swords is coming up, I'm just going to let you know right now, Aquarius, I feel like those of you who are releasing in this full moon, obviously it's going to be different for different ones of you because you are not in the same exact spot in your healing journey. We're all in different spots of our healing journey. If you are newer to your healing journey, or if there's just been this one specific thing that you've been having a really hard time clearing out, Ten of Swords tells me it's clearing out in a big way. So this is going to be an intense release. And when I say intense, I mean that you're going to feel this physically in your body. Be gentle with yourself. Go easy on yourself. This is not going to be a week to pile on a ton of commitments, a ton of plans. You know, if you have the option of keeping the week light, keep the week light. Maybe you're going to feel like you need to go to bed early. Maybe you feel like you need to take naps during the day, right? Maybe you feel like you need to cancel plans. Don't feel bad about it. Honor your body. Listen to your feelings. Be gentle with yourself. I feel like a lot of you are just gonna feel tired or drained or achy or sore. And so you just don't want to push yourself too hard when you feel that way. The next card that's coming up here for Aquarius is the Temperance card. And this is a Major Arcana card. Now, Major Arcana cards are going to come up anytime that we're coming into a new chapter in our life. It's a significant turning point. It's a significant new chapter. It's a significant period. It's a defining time in our life. The Temperance card, yes, it can have to do with divine timing. So there could be something here that divine timing is at play. Sometimes it can be seen as like the need for patience, but these cards make me feel like this is not patience. This is like things are aligning and the time is now. To me, this is the opposite of patience. To me, this feels like something is coming in and you're like, oh gosh, this is great, but I didn't think it would be here now. Even if it's something you've been waiting for a long time, you weren't anticipating it would come in now. So you might be telling yourself, I'm not ready, I'm not ready. And the Temperance card is coming in saying that, no, this is the time. It's happening now because it's time. And it's a non-negotiable time frame, because this is the time frame of the divine, right? This is the time frame of the universe. If the universe says it's go time, it's go time. There's no snooze button. There's no let's come back to this, next month, next week. No, it's happening now. So I feel here, Aquarius, that something is being sped up for you, or you feel like it's being sped up. It's happening sooner than you had anticipated. It's happening sooner than you had planned for it. It's the opposite of delay. It's the opposite of patience or waiting. It's like, nope, we're doing this now. Let's get going. It's time now. Chop, chop. That's the vibe I'm feeling here with the Temperance card. Temperance card is also about answering a calling. Some of you maybe have been pushing down a calling or really kind of like dismissing it. And now the universe is saying, look, honey, look, Aquarius, it's time. You're gonna do this now. And it can feel very scary. And I can relate. I know that speaking of small potatoes, I'm very small potatoes on YouTube. I'm not a massive channel. I don't have like 500,000 subscribers. I don't have crazy high, 500,000 million views on my videos. But those people, those numbers are still a lot of people for one little regular average person to be reaching. And Spirit told me to do this. I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to do card reading. I didn't want to do energy healing. I didn't want to put myself out there spiritually. So I can relate, Aquarius. I know what it feels like when your angels and guides are like, no, this is what you're going to do, and you're going to do it now. We've waited and waited and waited. You're going to do it now. Right? And you'll know when that time it is upon you. Right? It's very clear. And some of you are feeling this. So that, okay, This is the time that I'm embracing my calling, or this is the time that I'm going to have to go forward and do what I had planned or what I've been thinking about doing. It could be starting a business. It could be a spiritual path. It could be it could be something in terms of your political or religious beliefs. It could be something having to do with the way that you're parenting. It could be a relocation. But something somehow is connected with where you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to be doing right now. And it can feel scary because you've been delaying it or you've been putting it off. And the universe is saying, no, this is the time. It's go time now. So it's happening within divine timing. Temperance card also here is going to be Sagittarius energy. So some of you maybe are going to be dealing with a Sagittarius. If you have a Sagittarius placement, there may be really big changes or shifts happening for you in those areas of your life or in those houses. The next card that's coming up here for you all, wow, speaking of Sagittarius, is the Queen of Wands. This is definitely fire sign energy, Leo, Sagittarius, or Aries. But you all know, excuse me, but you all know, I like to focus on you and how the cards apply to you and your journey. Queen of Wands for me comes up when you start realizing how much you bring to the table and how much you have to offer. Aquarius, some of you have made many people very wealthy. Very wealthy. You may have worked for businesses and employers that made a lot of money off of your hard work and your ideas. And you got paid peanuts in comparison to what that company was raking in. You may have been very supportive to your lovers, your romantic partners, your spouses, your friends with their ideas, and you've sat there with them and you've given them inspiration and you've given them feedback, and anybody who takes your advice just absolutely flourishes. But again, you might get hardly a thank you. When I see the Queen of Wands, you start to realize how talented you are, how gifted you are, how capable you are, how much other people are benefiting from you. You realize what you bring to the table, and you realize that you are not being fairly compensated for it. That you deserve far more than what's being paid out to you. And there's an anger. Ooh, there's an anger. There's a justifiable anger. There's a righteous indignation here with the Queen of Wands. So a lot of you are going to have this anger coming to the surface. And you're going to be releasing anger in this full moon energy. But Queen of Wands tells us that as this anger is coming up, you're going to be able to use it constructively. Instead of using it for destruction and chaos, you're going to use it to propel you forward, to create. Queen of Wands realizes how much she deserves and how much she has to offer, and she reaches for higher. She aims for higher, and she gets it in a very short period of time because she knows she has this healthy sense of entitlement. She knows she deserves it. She knows that she is entitled to it. So she gets it, right? She reaches for it and she gets it. Some of you are going to be landing a much better job with a higher title, a higher pay. You're going to go out there looking for it. You're going to land it in a very short period of time. Some of you are going to put yourself out there and start your own business or start your own company, or finally get serious about something that you were treating as a little kind of hobby or side hustle, and it's going to grow very quickly. This doesn't mean that you should walk into your job on Monday and tell your boss to kiss your butt and take the job and shove it and walk out because you're going to land something really soon, or your business is going to take off really soon. I'm not telling you to put yourself in that kind of a stressful situation unnecessarily. You can still have your mic drop moment, but, one thing at a time here. Let's let the other thing roll in before you go in there and tell them to take the job and shove it. Let's get the other stuff established first. Don't put yourself in an unnecessarily stressful situation, no matter how much you may or may not like adrenaline. Okay? But I do feel here there's going to be massive changes in a very short period of time here for you all with this Queen of Wands energy. You may want to check out your moon sign and rising sign videos. Some weeks those might resonate more for you than your sun sign. You may need a private reading, which I'm more than happy to do for you. If you click on the link in the description of this video, it will take you to calendly.com/amethystangelite, and you can schedule a private reading with me there. If you've not yet checked out the love readings for March, those are linked in the description. You can check those out. April love readings will be coming up in the next week or so. And don't forget the card of the day. I've been doing a daily message. Be sure to check that out, my darlings. I thank you all for watching, liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing. I hope I'll see you all in the daily messages as well. Take care and be well, my dears.